Hi guys, I'm Rotary Swing instructor Clay Ballard, and today I have a great tip for you on getting rid of the flip in your golf swing so that you can get more forward shaft lean, and it all has to do with rotation of your hands and wrist and the proper rotation through impact. Let's go ahead and get started to get rid of that flip forever. Okay, so if you've heard some of my instruction on flipping before, you realize that flipping is caused from an overactive right hand and me pushing this club through impact. It looks something like this as you're coming through the shot. But there's one key that you've probably been told before that's just dead wrong that's going to contribute to this, and that's trying to keep the hands facing the target for as long as possible without getting any rotation in the release. And the momentum that's built up in this club head is going to make you flip if you do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this with just my right hand. So first, I'm going to go ahead and make a swing here, and if I keep my right hand facing the target for as long as possible and never rotate my forearms, it's going to be very difficult to keep the momentum of this club head from flipping and breaking down my wrist. It's almost impossible to keep the left wrist from breaking down unless I get some rotation of this right hand. So let's go ahead and look at that again with just the right arm. As I'm coming into impact, I want to have some nice forward shaft lean. And as I'm releasing this club, I want my wrist, my radius of my ulna here in my forearm to rotate and allow this club to be released in this manner. And that's going to allow me to keep my left wrist nice and flat as I come on through. So this wrist has to rotate counterclockwise. Imagine that you're turning a doorknob with your left hand or turning a doorknob with your right hand. Both of those are going to work together. Allow those wrists to rotate and stay nice and flat. If you don't do that, you're going to have a real tough time to keep from flipping. So let's go ahead and look at this from face on. You can see as I'm coming down to impact, I'm getting some forward shaft lean, and now as I release, these forearms are rotating, and that's allowing it to keep nice and flat. So if you want to stop flipping, we want to make sure we have forward shaft lean, and as we release, the palm of my right hand needs to be facing behind my body. If it stays this way, and now the palm of my right hand is facing up toward the sky, that's a flip. This is a proper release, and once again you can see the left wrist stays nice and flat if you release this in the correct manner. I have a great video that goes over not only this, but the takeaway, the first half of the downswing, getting lag, and then also releasing correctly, and that's the wide, narrow, wide video, and I'm going to attach that in just 1 second. I want to take this time to thank you for watching this video, and I hope this quick tip helps you to improve your game. Rotary Swing students are truly the best students in the world, and it's truly a pleasure working with you guys. Now, in the full Rotary Swing system and the online website, it's not just quick tips. We actually have a learning process where you start from the beginning of the swing, work throughout the entire swing so that you can develop fantastic fundamentals. Now, as a bonus, I'm going to include the first half of a premium video that's going to start as soon as I'm done here. If you want to watch the entire video, you can click in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. That'll take you to a little form where you can sign up for your free Rotary Swing membership. You'll receive about 3 hours of free online instruction, plus you'll be able to see this video in its entirety. I look forward to working with you guys much more in the future, and I'll see you soon. So how would you like to have the same swing shape as every PGA Tour golfer in the world? I know what a lot of you are thinking right now. That's not even possible. There's a lot of guys that swing flat and around their body. There's other guys that swing more upright. There's all kinds of variations in swing shapes on the PGA Tour. And that is true, but there is one swing shape that'll be common for every professional golfer, and that's wide, narrow, wide. Now what I mean by this is in the takeaway and backswing, you're gonna make a nice wide swing arc. Then you're gonna narrow that swing arc in the downswing by creating lag, and then wide in the release as you get rid of lag and create some clubhead speed. It's the only way to create tour caliber clubhead speeds and still be very consistent. So if you want to learn the wide, narrow, wide swing shape, I'm going to show it to you in 3 simple steps. All right, so first let's talk about whether or not you're already doing this move correctly. Now the opposite of wide, narrow, wide, the PGA Tour swing shape would be narrow, wide, narrow. And that's going to be the high handicapper swing shape. When you're doing this, instead of having that nice wide swing arc going back, you're bending the right arm early and you're picking the club up with your right wrist. This is creating a very steep angle on the way back, a very narrow arc. Now from here, the tendency is going to be to cast. Now the reason for this is I'm picking up this right arm and I get this right arm really, really loaded and by my side here, It's narrow. It feels like I want to throw with this right arm from right off the top, right off the bat. So I'm going to cast as I come down, and that's great if I want a lot of club head speed back here, but if I want a lot of club head speed at the ball, I need to keep that angle. So if you go narrow, your tendency is going to be to throw from the top, cast the club, and then as you're coming through, you're going to go narrow again and get that chicken wing position. So you're going narrow, wide, and then narrow in the follow through, which kills club head speed at the most crucial part, and that's impact. So let's go over these 3 steps in order so that you can perfect them in your own swing. Okay, so move number 1 is wide, and that's basically just going to be a takeaway for this drill. We're going to start out with about a half swing. It's called a 9 to 3 drill, so it means we're going to 9 o'clock with our left arm on the way back. We're going to 3 o'clock on the way through. And the reason we're going to do this is it's going to allow you to go slower, to be able to see all your positions, and then once you can perfect this half swing, it's going to be really easy to take it a little farther back and swing a little farther through and incorporate this into a full swing. So let's start out with a 9 to 3 drill. So step 1, as I mentioned, is wide. We already know why this is a good thing. The wider I go on the way back, as a rule of thumb, the more lag I can create on the downswing. So if I'm going narrow, I'm going to cast. If I go wide, I'm going to create lag. So the first key to this is to keep the right arm straight. If we keep this right arm straight all the way to the end of the takeaway, or when the club's parallel to the ground here, I'm going to have to create a very wide arc. So you can see that now I'm forced to turn my shoulders, which is a good thing. I'm forced to do a lot of other things that are great we're not going to talk about yet here in this video. We're not going to talk about, but I'm making a very wide arc because my right arm is staying straight. Now the second piece to this is I want to make sure that I get a little bit of weight shift. Now we don't want to create a wide swing arc by shifting our entire body. So this would be overdoing it. This would be too wide. You know, there is a point where you can go too wide in the backswing. So we want to make sure that our weight only goes to the inside of my right foot. So if I go to the inside of my right foot, you can see that I'm remaining centered as I'm rotating. So my spine isn't moving all over the place as I'm going back and through. That would be the weight on the inside of my foot. So those are the 2 checkpoints I want you to do for step number 1. Straight right arm, weight to the inside. If you're shifting to the right with your body, you're going too far. So let's go ahead and go over step 2 now. All right, so now we're ready for step 2, and that's going to be getting narrow or creating lag in the downswing. So to start step 2, let me go back to the end of step 1. I've shifted the weight to the inside of my right foot. My right arm is dead straight. To start move 2, I'm first going to shift my weight to the left. So this is just going to be lateral for this drill. You're going to get a little bit of rotation in the hips, so don't really worry about too much of that. You're just thinking about shifting the weight from the inside of your right foot to the center, or the center of your ankle on your left foot. So it's going to start out by looking like this, and you'll also notice as I'm doing this, I'm starting to let this club hinge a little bit. So here's step 1. We're going to check this position, go in slow motion, make sure you're in the right spot. Then you're going to start move 2 by shifting the weight to the left and beginning to let these wrists hinge, or to wrist to cock, just like in the down cock drill we talk about on the site. So we're just going to look like this in step 1. We're going to go to step 2, and that's the first piece. We're going to shift our weight. The second piece I want you to check is when your left hand is in front of your right thigh, you want to make sure that this club is at least parallel